Does anybody have any questions they'd like to ask our colleagues from the Digital Tourism Think Tank or Expedia, who obviously took us beyond Edinburgh and Scotland? Any questions from anybody? I'll throw the mic out. I've got a couple myself to kick the ball rolling. I'm going to kick the ball rolling.
Hi, my name's Chris. I have a small tour company in Edinburgh called Localised Tours. It's just a quick question. You both work with different businesses and so forth, but is there one very much discernible challenge that you see often with, for example, small businesses regarding the integration of technology? Or are there a few options or a few things you see?
Okay.
I think this really is what I would say represents the kind of biggest challenges: capacity and money. And then I think capacity is a really big issue that I see everywhere, because there's a huge aspiration to do a lot of these really exciting things. But then when you bring that back to the reality of implementing it, a lot of businesses are just completely lost as to where to begin, how to begin. Sometimes I come across a lot of businesses that lack the very, very basic components in their strategy, like a strong brand identity, a strong understanding of content and consistency and tone, and how to communicate that across all the kind of the very accessible channels, Facebook and everything else. So I often see that there's an interesting kind of jumping ahead and doing all these really exciting things. But what's really important is to just get the basics right first, organize the brand, organize it in digital, and be really, really clear about the offer and how to engage consumers around that. Because everything above that is a cherry on the cake. I think once you kind of know how to be present in digital and do that really well, then you can start to refine, optimize, and really go into the detail.
Yeah, I would say knowledge and execution as well, because I think it's just a case of knowing what's important to people and knowing what people are really interested in and what people are really looking at and looking for. And I think Expedia do this. We try to do this quite a lot when we talk to our partners about sort of more the educational piece. What does your competitor set look like? How do you compete in this market? What are some case studies that we can help can bring forward and say, here's somebody who is similar to you doing these things. So I think it is really, knowledge and execution, knowing how to actually act on the information that you have and where to put your effort. So if you have a capacity problem, it's like, okay, where can I actually put my effort that I'm going to get a good return? What are other people doing and how can I learn from that? And what are the resources I can leverage in order to deliver on that?
And maybe also just to add to that, I think what Gazelle has shown is a kind of company culture and a mindset. And in such a big company, the huge importance placed on human-centered design, which is really, really, it's key. And I think where translating that sort of mindset and culture to all businesses is where I think there's a really great opportunity for any business to develop those skills and that way of thinking, and to think much further, much longer term about what kind of, how to really create these incredible user experiences. So I think the mindset aspect is something that's a kind of a culture shift, but getting that right can really help put the businesses into a completely different league in a way where they're really, going much further ahead of the competition.
And sorry, just to say, as a quick and dirty, you could also just talk to 5 or 10 people that walk through your door. What did you like about this? What didn't you like? What do you think we could improve? There's always that feedback loop that you can get from people and learn from people every opportunity. And you can learn a lot from just speaking to people.
You actually just remind me of a really great, we did a workshop in Oslo, and we took the tourist board and other tourist boards out to do user research on the spot in outside and in the tourist information center. And it was just incredible because you've got a bunch of marketeers who have a research team in their organization. The research team produces pretty hefty studies, the marketing team doesn't read them. And then they did just some on the spot, very light research, talking. We did some focus groups, we did some short surveys. They built, designed, and captured sort of 20 or 30 results on the spot. And the findings and the understanding of the users was just incredible. And they all left saying, we're going to do this much more, we're going to ask more. And every time we have an idea, we're going to run it by people. Every time we're not sure, we're going to ask them. So, yeah, I think...
Okay, I think we should be taking people out on the street now. No. I'm actually just going to pull us... We identified one question that came through on the Slido that I think might be useful for us to talk about, because it's about customer experience. And what incredible improvements does Edinburgh need most to better serve visitors? Obviously, you need to know Edinburgh before you can really answer this. But from your sense of, generality, what do you think cities maybe most need to better serve?
That's a good question. It's a big question as well. So I think you've got different levels of sort of answering this. I think to go right to the very top, and especially working with a lot of tourist boards, I think leadership is really important. So to answer that question, you need to understand how people experience the city, where the pain points are, and where you can find or identify possible solutions to those pain points. So I think to adopt, again, this mindset, it's coming back to having really great leadership, really great advocacy of actually how can we sort of do more co-creation to do this as an industry, and how can we actually understand where the challenges are for our visitors, both on sort of solving those, but also on the kind of creative ideation on possible solutions.
I mean, I think it's more systemic in a way, because I think that collaboration within the community of people serving the traveller, that starts to change the experience for the traveller. So while I don't know Edinburgh and I couldn't possibly tell you exactly what you could do to better serve any visitor, I think that it's the spirit of collaboration that creates a community that people then, or tourists and travellers, feel like they're stepping into. And so there's a much more cohesive experience of Edinburgh that people could have because of that innate collaboration amongst everybody. Then I think that makes it a much more seamless experience for travellers coming in.
You could really look at that at so many levels. So you could look at it from like the arrival in the city and what the experience is like at that touch point, if you like, through to contact and engagement with the tourism sector. And if as a brand you say, well, we're all about the welcome, which I'm not saying that's the brand message, but a lot of destinations have that. Then sort of seeing how that translates through all the the granular kind of experience that everyone's providing. And how you can really kind of reinforce that.
Okay, if you're going to stay about, people can ask individual questions, but for now I'm going to ask you to put your hands together and thank our two keynote speakers, okay?